Hello viewers, have you ever wondered how to fetch some real-time data from, say, IoT sensors for your big data projects but couldn't get your hands on some for your Kafka topics? Well, look no further. Today we'll be using our iPhones to get some data transferred straight to our Kafka topics. We'll be using an inbuilt app that iPhone provides called Shortcuts. Check it out, you might have it on your phone right now. We'll also need a Kafka REST utility provided by Confluent and a Kafka local deployment running on your laptop. The Kafka REST proxy is a component provided by Confluent that allows clients to interact with Kafka using HTTPS protocols instead of the native Kafka protocols. This proxy exposes a RESTful API to produce and consume Kafka messages, which can be useful for applications that cannot use the native Kafka protocols like producers and consumer APIs due to limitations in their environment, such as web browsers, certain programming languages, your phones, or environments where direct TCP connections to Kafka brokers are not possible. So let's get started. First, let's set up a Kafka environment to receive our data. I am assuming you already have a Kafka deployed in your laptop. So if not, it's quite simple. It just takes a few steps and configurations, and there's tons of videos and tutorials out there to help you set it up. We are focused more on installing the Kafka REST utility in particular, so we'll be focusing more on that. To install it, we need to import the Confluent GPG key. Open a new, I'm going to open a new Ubuntu tab. I'm running my Ubuntu on the Windows sub Linux system, the WSL, and I'm running my Kafka cluster on it. This command will add the Confluent GPG key onto your local repository so that you can read all the Confluent packages from your laptop. Alright viewers, now that our Confluent packages are successfully added to our local repository, we can install the Confluent Kafka REST utility. Using this command, you don't necessarily need to install all the Confluent components like Kafka Connect, the schema registry, etc. So I'm going to be running my Confluent REST proxy on top of my vanilla Kafka installment. So I'm just going to download the Confluent Kafka REST proxy. So it looks like our Confluent Kafka REST proxy is installed on our laptop systems. Before we start our Kafka REST server, we'll need to provide it with some configurations like bootstrap server where our Kafka is running, the listener where the server will be listening on, and if you're using this in production, then your HTTPS configurations will go into this file. You'll need to place the configurations in Kafka REST properties file under the config directory. You will find your configuration file under etc/Kafka REST. So let me just head over that directory. As you can see the Kafka REST properties here. And before I do that, so I'll just grab my IP address where my Kafka server is running. I'm going to issue the command ifconfig, get my IP address, copy that, open my Kafka REST properties. I'm going to open that as sudo. I'm going to replace my local host with my IP. And I'm also going to be adding another property called listeners. So this property will make the Kafka REST proxy listen to any IP address that you provide in this property. Replace that with http /0.0.0.0.2. So this will make the Kafka REST proxy listen on 8082 port and it will listen on any incoming channel. I'm going to save that. Now we have our Kafka REST properties ready and configured. Another important thing to do, viewers, is to port forward from your external network, that is your laptop, to your internal network, that is your WSL Ubuntu. The reason is, when my phone attempts to reach Kafka REST proxy, it will first hit my laptop's public IP. From there, it has to be redirected to the Kafka REST proxy, which is running on the WSL IP. If you don't do this step, you'll likely get a request timeout error every time you attempt to reach the proxy server. So it is very important to port forward from your host Windows machine to your WSL Ubuntu machine. So to do this, we need to open PowerShell as administrator and create a network rule to port forward so that every external request that hits the laptop will be redirected to the WSL Ubuntu. So the command is netshell interface port proxy add v4 to v4, and it takes four parameters. One is the listen port, where you will be doing your listening from your laptop, from your external host. You will be listening to other external machines connecting to your machine. So this is my listen port, my listen address. So your listen address will be your host IP address. So in order to get that, I'm just going to open a command line and issue the command ipconfig. So this will get you all the network ports and IP addresses. So what I'm looking for is under the wireless LAN adapter Wi-Fi. That is the Wi-Fi that I'm connected to, and my all the external requests will be coming from here. So I'm going to take that IPv4 address. I'm going to copy that, and that is going to be my listen address. Now the connect port, the port which I want to forward the request to, and the connect address. This is going to be my WSL IP address. So every time I open, like I close and open my Ubuntu WSL machine, like it gets a new IP address. So in order to make that a variable, I'm going to use a variable. So I'm going to use dollar WSL hostname I dot trim. So this will get the hostname of the WSL machine that I'm running every time, and it will just update this rule, which basically forwards all the requests that are coming to this IP address on this port to my WSL IP address on the same port. I'm going to do that. All right. So it looks like my proxy rule is set. Now I can go ahead with starting the REST server. To start the REST server, we need to first have the Zookeeper and the Kafka running. So before I started this video, I've already started my Zookeeper and my Kafka server. For viewers, to start the Kafka REST proxy, we just need to issue this command Kafka start. Since we have downloaded the Kafka REST proxy using our apt and installed it using apt, so it is already present in your environment class path. So we just need to issue the Kafka REST start and then pass our Kafka REST properties file to it and enter. So this should start your Kafka REST proxy. So I'm starting a new tab to try to see if I am able to access the Kafka topics. So first, let me create a topic called doorbells. I will tell you why. So we have created the topic called doorbells. I am going to use a curl command to access my Kafka REST proxy to see if this topic was created and that our Kafka REST proxy is connected to our Kafka cluster and everything is in order. To fetch the topics, I need to issue this command curl http slash localhost 082. Since our listener is running on 0.0.0.0, like you issue any name here slash 83 clusters. Alright viewers, as you can see, our Kafka REST proxy is able to connect to my Kafka cluster, and the cluster ID is this. We're just going to note it down. we need this cluster ID for further commands. So this will just fetch the cluster that our Kafka REST proxy is connected to. Next, to access the list of topics that's under this cluster, let's just issue this command: localhost 082 clusters, and we pass our cluster ID topics. I'm going to be using a grep to highlight my doorbells. So as you can see here, so we have a topic doorbell that's been created uh, on our cluster. So looks like our Kafka REST proxy is successfully connected with our local Kafka cluster. Awesome. So now we have our Kafka setup ready. Let's keep a consumer console open to see if any new data is being produced into our doorbells. Consumer is running and is listening on this topic. So if any data is produced to it, we will be able to view it here. Let's move on to producing data into the topic using our iPhones. You will need to do some fiddling around in your iPhone. So I am going to switch over to my phone screen now. So viewers, to explain this in an engaging manner, I am going to take an example of a use case. My use case is I want my phone to send data to my Kafka topic whenever my house's doorbell is rung. That's right. I want my phone to keep listening for doorbells, and whenever someone rings my bell, I should get a notification on my Kafka topic saying someone has rung the doorbell. Alright, so maybe your phones aren't the correct tools for the job, and maybe a home automation chips like Arduino and Raspberry Pi will be more suitable for said use case. However, since I'm broke and will need you guys to like, share, and subscribe to get paid for these videos, I will be using my iPhone for staying under budget. So iPhone comes with an inbuilt app for automation called Shortcuts. So just search for Shortcuts and open the app. Next, tap on the plus symbol on the top right corner. Rename the shortcut to your fancy. I'm going to call mine send notification to Kafka. You can hit the search actions there and search for get contents of URL, and you can choose that from the list there and expand that pressing the arrow mark. Now the URL is a variable. You can just tap on it and you can type the REST proxy's address, http // followed by the IP address of your laptop, colon your port, topics / door bells. Awesome. So that's your REST proxy endpoint, and then you can change the method to post. And in the headers viewers, you can just add new header there, and in the key you can type content type, and in the text bar you can just type application / vnd dot kafka dot v2 plus kafka dot json dot v2 plus json, and another header called accept. You can copy the same thing as the contents of content type and paste that into your accept. Be sure to remove the JSON bit from here. I had overlooked this and it was a nightmare to debug. Right, those are your headers. Then under request body, you can just hit on the plus and add an array so that you can name the key as records. The structure of the request body is on your screen, on the laptop screen. So you can just refer to that when you're creating this. Records, and when you hit the value, you can just say add new field and add a dictionary. It'll open up this again, and when you tap on the 0 items bar again, you can add new field and you can choose dictionary again. In the key, you can hit values. And once you're done with that, you can hit 0 items in the value bar again and then add new field. There'll be a text, which is a notification saying someone's at the door. I'm going to add new field and we'll choose text. The key will be my timestamp and the value in this magic variable here, you can just select, you can scroll right and then you can select current date. And if you want to customize that, you can just tap on that current date on your value field again. Once you're done with that, you can just hit done and again hit done. And one last time you can hit done on the final home page. Right, now your action is ready. This shortcut will send a notification to Kafka. So in order to trigger it when someone rings a bell, we need to set up an automation. Switch over to the automation tab. The automation tab on the bottom list of tabs here. Then click on the plus symbol and then search for, and you can see that sound recognition shows up in your search results. Tap on that and you can choose a list of sounds that you can ask your iPhone to recognize. I'm going to choose doorbell, run immediately instead of run after confirmation. And here I'm just going to select my send notification to Kafka. So this is what it does. When you recognize a sound doorbell, you're going to send notification to Kafka. That's what this does. And this is going to run on an immediate basis and it will notify me when it's running. So I'm going to just done here. So that's it, guys. So this should recognize the doorbell and send a notification to Kafka REST server, which in turn will send it to our Kafka topic. Let's give it a shot. All right, viewers. So in order to test my automation, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ring my doorbell and let's see if the phone is able to identify that sound and send the notification to Kafka. All right, guys, moment of truth. Okay, so as you can see, we have a notification on our Kafka topics from our mobile phones using our Kafka REST proxy. See you next time.